Hey there, my name is Sharon and I'm a senior UX designer. I started out my career as a UX designer a couple of years ago, and when I first started, I had just a simple resume and a simple Behance portfolio, and at the time, that was actually enough to get people interested in at least having an interview with you to see, what your skills are and what you have to offer. Fast forward to today, and the requirements to even get an interview seem to be a lot more strict and stringent. Now, this could be a little bit discouraging. So, if you're watching this and you've experienced a lot of difficulty trying to apply for jobs, just know that you're not alone. A lot of people are going through this. Now, you might also be watching this video and be thinking, if it's so difficult now, is there even a point? Should I even try? And I will say that yes, if you're really interested in giving this a shot, you should try. There is a point. You can actually still break into the industry. However, you have to do things differently. You have to play the game a little bit differently than we did at the beginning of our careers. And now you have to position yourself the best way that you can to break into the market, which is what we're going to be discussing in this video. So without wasting any more time, let's get started and let's talk about it. So if I were to start my career in 2024 from scratch as someone without any experience at the beginning of their careers, there's a couple of things that I would do a lot differently. And the first thing I would do is I would set realistic goals. I would not sit here and lie to you. It's been quite difficult the past couple of years in the tech industry, in the world as a whole. There have been a lot of changes and a lot of downturns that people didn't see coming, and that has led to a lot of negative effects from, layoffs to companies freezing hiring and just generally less money and less opportunities. And this means that it's a lot more competitive to get started. And we have to be aware of this, and being cognizant of this fact will help us to set realistic goals. So if you currently have a job that you're working in and that's paying your bills, I would say hold on to that while you're trying to, probably learn more about design or tech in general, while you're trying to build your skills and build your confidence. Also give yourself enough time and enough grace to know that, okay, a transition sometimes might take up to a year to happen. And part of setting realistic goals, aside knowing how long it might take you to get comfortable enough to start applying for jobs, is also giving enough time to know how long it might take you to get the first interview, the first job, and knowing that it's going to probably be a bit of a lengthier process than it was years ago, and giving yourself the time, the grace, and being patient with yourself through this process. I'm not going to be one of those people that says, hey, you can start your career in 2 months or in 1 month. Even if that was the case a couple of years ago, it's not the case now. So you have to be very, very cautious, and you have to be very deliberate about how you're choosing to do things now. The second thing I would do is I would save resources and not do a bootcamp. I say this all the time on this channel, and this is not because I don't think that bootcamps have immense potential and could absolutely help you. They really can, but the economy has been a little bit weird. So I would say hold on to your coins, hold on to your money, and rather follow a detailed study plan. Now, I have created a study plan that you can download. The link should show somewhere on the screen or in the description or in the link in my bio, and you can download the study plan, and it's going to take you from ground zero, some of the basics that you need to know, and also get into tips for your portfolio, ideas for your projects, for your portfolio projects, how you should structure it, tools that you should use for your projects, and as well as research, accessibility, UX writing, and things that you need to be aware of. So start off with something that is cheaper, more accessible, and just try to hold yourself accountable. The downside with using something like a study plan or just self-teaching online is that there's no one to hold you accountable, and there's no one to tell you, hey, you need to finish this, or you have this deadline coming up, but you have to hold yourself accountable. The study plan that I've created also does have timelines, so if possible, try to do things as they're listed week by week, month by month, and try to keep yourself working within that timeline, and that should help you get out of the beginner phase after a couple of months. The next thing that I would do is I would double down on visual design. I'm not going to lie, there are so many amazing designers out there now. And these are people that have transitioned from other fields, probably people with a lot of visual design experience. And you might find yourself sometimes, not all the time, competing for opportunities with such people. And truthfully, there was a time a couple of years ago where there was such a clear demarcation between UI designers and UX designers. These days, anyone who's hiring a designer expects you to be able to do both. And visual design usually is a strong ask for most companies. A lot of people have seen the effect that having good design has on the success of a product. Take for example, even Stripe. You can see how high they hold their visual design standards, and a lot of new startups and products and teams are really prioritizing that, and they will expect you to deliver on a particular level. So you want to prioritize really learning the foundations of visual design. So I want you to really take the time to practice. That is what really helps people to excel in visual design. It's spending hours copying other people's work, focusing on it, studying it, understanding what makes good design good design. And this is done by understanding visual design, typography, grids and alignment, and visual composition. And the best way to build your eye for this is to not watch a lot of videos and courses. I mean, that helps, but actually get yourself into the zone of doing, building, and creating. The next thing I would do is I would have to get myself some level of work experience. Now, I know it's hard. It's definitely going to be tough, but you do need to get yourself working on projects that, even if you're not live now, they have the potential to be live at some point, and you're working with people. So this could be volunteer work, and this could be group work that you might be doing with other people who are looking to get their careers started and who are willing to collaborate with you. So that could be devs, could be other designers, however it is that you want to structure it. Get yourself working with a group of people that will hold you accountable and also give you a semblance of what it is to work with other people. And also, if you can do volunteer work, maybe for a nonprofit or a startup, something like that, get yourself real life work experience. The truth is, right now, it's hard to be a beginner. It's very hard to come out and say, I have no experience, and for people to be okay with that. The best way you can beat that is by not being a beginner. Don't be a beginner. Don't be the person that has zero work experience, that has absolutely nothing. It's not wrong, it's not bad, it's just that right now it's really hard if you have nothing to show for it. So collaborate with people, do volunteer work, have a company, have something that you can list on your portfolio, on your resume, and say, I've worked here, I've done this. At the end of the day, people who are looking at your work experience are not going to know whether that was free or not. They're just going to know that this is a place that exists and this is something that you have worked on. So I would say prioritize doing that. And also, when you're doing this kind of work, make sure it's interesting work as much as possible. Don't go and just do work on something that is, probably not that appealing. You want to prioritize projects that are trendy, for lack of a better word, so probably AI related projects, financial technology related projects, B2B, B2C, do stuff that is interesting and that a potential employer could say, hey, they've worked on this. This person is probably really good at what they do. The next thing I would do is I would build a solid portfolio. You remember how I said you should save your coin instead of doing a bootcamp? Yeah, so this would be a good time to invest in a really good portfolio. So you can use, for example, tools like Framer. Framer has amazing templates, some of them paid, some of them free, and it's fairly easy to use. And you can get a couple months free if you use the link in my description or the link popping up here. Using Framer will help you to be able to create a really sleek portfolio. So I want you to dedicate as much time, as much effort possible into creating a really good website. So you want to have a cohesive theme, you want to use colors that appeal and just have a very good sense of visual art direction when it comes to your portfolio. Double down on that, invest in it, invest time, money, effort in making a portfolio and resume that when people look at, they need to do a double take like, oh, this looks nice. You want to catch people's attention. Related to this topic, the next thing I would focus on is personal branding. I cannot overemphasize the importance of good personal branding. You cannot afford to not have good personal branding at this point. Now, when we talk about personal branding, what exactly do we mean? So we're talking about, mostly for this part, the visual aspects of it, and then also the personality that you put of yourself online. So the visual aspects would be what colors, what logos you use for your portfolio. See your portfolio as a project, by the way. And what colors, typography, how do you do the overall presentation of your portfolio and your resume in a way that you look like an institution, right? Not just this one person. You look like this believable person. Invest in a headshot, get good pictures, look the part. You don't want to look like a beginner, someone that's just not sure of what they're doing, because there's a lot of people like that already and you're trying to stand out. Now, with regards to how you would look online, we also want to present yourself, on social platforms like LinkedIn as someone who is interested, who's active, who is always trying to learn, who is putting their work out there. It might not be perfect, it might not be, the best, but is willing to learn and all of that. I would like to tell you that in this day and age, not being on social media and being completely, invisible and under the radar is totally fine. It is. However, remember, we're trying to play a numbers game and we're trying to see what can help you stand out amongst the competition. The next thing I would do is network. If you are anything like me and you're introverted, that sounds like a nightmare. It absolutely is. However, networking on social media can be a little bit less tasking than networking in real life. So I want you to constantly connect with recruiters, connect with people hiring for different jobs, have them in your network, send them messages, let them know that you are looking for new opportunities and you've worked on projects that are maybe even similar to what their company does, and you're very interested in what they're doing and you think that there could be, a beneficial relationship out there. And even if, we're not connecting for jobs right now, maybe in the future, you want to grow your network as much as possible. Share your design processes, share your thoughts. There seems to be this notion that you have to be an expert, you have to be a senior before you can share what you're doing. You don't. But you have to network and put yourself out there. And that brings me to my next point, which is put yourself out there. You have nothing to lose. I've seen people start their careers basically on social media, and they were able to actually scale and do that and get opportunities and get seen. That is the goal. If you're starting in 2024, you need to be seen. You need for people to notice you, you need for people to see you as being capable, and you need people to rate you highly. And being on social media and being able to adequately leverage that is a great way to do that. And last but not the least, the elephant in the room, AI. I would get very familiar and conversant with how to use AI and how to leverage it. Right now, we're not in a position just yet where AI can fully replace designers, researchers, content writers. We are not at that stage yet. But what we can do is use AI to improve the quality of our work and to automate some very basic things. AI can actually help you to, refine some of your thoughts and your processes and, check for grammatical errors, and it can just help you to put out more polished work. So I think we can leverage AI in that sense, and I would really advise people at the start of their careers to try to use it to ensure that basic things like grammar, picking colors, and things like that, you can automate those with AI and you can leverage that. So guys, I hope today's video was helpful for you. I wish you all the best if you're starting out your career. Please check the description. You should see a lot of information on either the study guide, free resume templates, Basically anything that you need to start your careers, you can most likely find in the description of this video. So please check it out and feel free to connect with me, subscribe to my channel, follow me on social media. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much. Talk soon.